evening, and thank you for being with us. I'm Carrie Sharp. If you are just joining us here at the half hour, welcome to you. We are talking about the Nashville Film Festival, which kicks off this Thursday, runs for a week. Jason Padgitt, the executive director of the film festival, is joining us. Thank you again, Jason, for spending this hour with us in a very busy time for you as you guys are about ready to launch this puppy. I want to talk about some of the films that are coming up that people will have the chance to see. We talked about the Beach Boys one earlier that's going to kick everything off, called Brian Wilson, Long Promise Road. What else comes to mind that people might really enjoy?
Well, I need to mention for sure all of the Tennessee blocks that we have in the festival, which actually, even though the Brian Wilson film is our official opening night feature, just before that, we're going to be running a couple of blocks of Tennessee-made short films, and those are always just fascinating and of really high quality. So those are also very searchable by title within our interactive schedule. You can look at everything that's in those, but those are always highlights for me. Also, going over to the Monday at Belmont University's theater, we have a set of student films, including one from a set of Belmont students that is a really cool project that they put together, which is, I think, going to get a great reaction. And I'm excited to meet all those filmmakers and see their film again with them. We also at Belmont have the documentary that's with John Hyatt and Jerry Douglas about the famous Studio B called Leftover Feeling. And it's a walk through the history of that studio through the eyes of John Hyatt and Jerry Douglas, and talking about some of the music that they're making in that very studio. They will be there in person as part of the Q&A for that film as well. And again, that's Monday at Belmont University. I mentioned Old Henry is Sunday night. And then jumping to Tuesday at Marathon Music Works, that's a very heavy music-focused day. So we have Aha, the movie, which is a documentary on the band Aha, which is a fascinating story. And that's followed by a documentary called Fanny, the Right to Rock, based on a 1970s rock band of all-female musicians called Fanny, and one of the founding members of Fanny will be at the screening, along with a live music performance from the band Flight Attendant, which will be playing songs of Fanny at Marathon, which is really cool. There's a horror film that night called We're All Going to the World's Fair, which starts, I think, at 10:30, a late night film that's got a lot of buzz, and I think that's going to be a big film once it's out in distribution. We also have two really terrific two music films. One is called
You can come back to it. I know you have so much swirling through your head.
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm picturing the film, and I just lost my train of thought. But the Fable of a Song is the one I was just trying to come up with there, and that is a really touching film about the process of songwriting. It's a really touching story that has some family aspects to it, but it's really for those that love, then the sort of Nashville songwriting community. It's a wonderful documentary, and I think people will love that. And the other one is called Poser, and that's one that is a narrative film about a bunch of aspiring musicians, which is also a terrific film.
I mean, it just really adds a Nashville touch when you have so many that are music centric.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll just jump to the last day of the festival, which is also, they're all terrific days, and it really, again, depends on kind of what you want to get into. But we save the closing night is really sort of the Oscar contender night. And we have just announced today, in fact, the film Spencer, with the story of Princess Diana, which is going to be in the Nashville Film Festival at the Belcourt. We also have a film called Humans, which is based off of a Tony Award-winning stage play, and the director of that film, and who also happens to be the writer of the play and the screenwriter of the film will also be in attendance. And then we've got another film at the Belcourt that day, which we haven't announced, and we probably won't announce until the curtain comes up. So we've put tickets on sale. Yes, so we put tickets on sale for this secret screening, and it's also all I can tell you is it's definitely going to be in the Oscar track, but I'm not allowed to say anything more than that. So,
is it because you want to build the excitement, or are you sworn to secrecy?
No, I'm sworn to secrecy. I would love to tell everybody, but I'm not allowed.
I gotcha. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. That's going to be the last day, right, at the Belcourt?
Yes, that's the closing night. I think there are four films playing through the day and the night, and I think it closes with Spencer at the end of the night, followed by the after party.
Well, that's going to be fun. You briefly mentioned the students at Belmont who made their documentary. It's called "How Did We Get Here? Nashville Surviving 2020." I think that is such a great title because that's what it felt like. We were surviving 2020 with the tornado, the pandemic, the bombing that kind of capped everything off. They put this together in a relatively short amount of time, I think about 13 weeks, to be on the student level and to be able to submit a film and have it shown at a film festival. It sounds like a pretty big deal.
It is, and I am continually impressed with the quality of films that are put out by students, including those at Belmont. But what's also, I think, worth noting, through all of Middle Tennessee here, all of the universities, we have some great partnerships and friendships with all of the universities. And what's really fascinating to me is the network of talent that is coming up through these university systems here in Middle Tennessee. I think is underappreciated, and they all have a little bit of a different focus. MTSU has a very, very strong production program on the art of filmmaking, kind of behind the camera. Lipscomb has a world-renowned animation and VR program, among other film programs, which is really an amazing story there. And they have some terrific staff and faculty and facilities that are really state-of-the-art there. Belmont, of course, is one of the most celebrated, film schools, and really terrific facility there. And Vanderbilt has a wonderful film studies program, and we work with all those universities. And I'm just very proud of what's coming out of there. And often when you say student film, people think, oh, it's kind of like, probably not that good. Well, they're really good. So that's something worth looking into. They're really fantastic films by a bunch of talented students.
And one heck of a thing to put on your resume, I imagine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the dreaded C word, COVID. How are you managing this year's film festival around COVID when it comes to protocols and just keeping everybody safe?
Yeah, and that was something that we had to make a lot of, difficult choices about. I mentioned, in 2020, we did a pure virtual festival, which again, for anybody who wants to be a part of the Nashville Film Festival but isn't comfortable going to public events, we do have the Nashville Film Festival available online, and you can watch it at home, and all the instructions on how to do that are on our website. So that's a great way to experience it regardless. As far as the COVID protocols, we in navigating 2021 really had to follow the federal, state, and local guidelines the best we can, and then beyond that, we're trying to add a layer of practical common sense aspects to it, including an abundance of hand washing stations and masks available. But we're not creating any mandates above and beyond what the city of Nashville has for public gatherings today. So in addition to that, our venue partners, where they may have a requirement that extends beyond the Nashville requirements, we're honoring those as well. So in the case of Belmont Belmont and Belcourt, for instance, there are mask requirements for those screenings only. When we're at Rocketown or Marathon, there are no mask requirements. So those are all listed both in each individual ticketing bucket. If you go to buy a ticket, the language is very clear as to kind of what the state of the venue is, and also on our general health and safety policy. But there's I've found, and we spent a lot of time on this. These weren't decisions that were made arbitrarily, but really our main purpose is to showcase the work of filmmakers, and to do that in a way that helps build their careers and creates a greater platform for those, and at the same time serving audiences that are anxious to see films again. And so we want everyone to act responsibly and to use their own best judgment as to what their comfort level is. But as we navigated all those very complicated issues, we really wanted to make ourselves as available in terms of showing up to an event like ours as you would to any of the other wonderful events that are open to the public without more restrictions in Nashville. So we're excited about it. And in our venues like Rocket Town and Marathon, the other factor in the selection of those and why they aren't under stricter requirements is they're very scalable environments. So we're limiting tickets in those environments, and they're such large spaces that you're not going to be sitting elbow to elbow, row to row with people the way you may in a traditional movie theater. So that gave us a little higher level of comfort to be able to create a workable space and make people comfortable. But again, we don't pass judgment. If people aren't comfortable, we want them to watch online. If they are comfortable, we want them to come out and join us. There's no right answer for everybody. We really just want to kind of have everyone use common sense and get as many of these films seen as possible.
Yeah, that's the important part. And just to be very clear on the virtual side of things, you buy a ticket and you can show this own movie in your own home or enjoy it in your own home, the full movie, whatever you choose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have a great delivery platform, and the easiest way to explain it, so if you buy a ticket to a film, you can purchase it directly online in a secure environment, and you essentially, just like a lot of the on-demand platforms, you essentially have 24 hours to watch the film once you start it, and that's like most on-demand rentals that you would do. The navigation of the virtual film festival is very similar to that of Netflix or any of those, where you can scroll through and choose your film. There are several ways you can connect to your television. The easiest way, and the thing that I've done and many that I know, is just taking an HDMI cable from your computer into your TV, and you use your computer as your interface. And once the film starts, you're on full screen on your computer. But you can watch through Apple and Amazon Fire and other. There's many ways to do it. They're all on our website. But I found the old computer cable to the TV. It works every time. So
I like it, making it as easy as possible. But you said it too, being able to return to in person. There's just something special about being in the theater that I think a lot of people have missed. What is it for you? What do you walk away with?
Well, it's a sense of community and connectivity with other people that you don't already know, and that's the feeling you get when everybody laughs at the same time, or everybody gasps at the same time, or you hear people weeping at the same time. There's a human connective aspect of being in a group, sharing an emotion with a group that you don't otherwise maybe have a connection to. There's something very special about that. And of course, as I said earlier, the sense of getting a filmmaker getting feedback from their own film for maybe the very first time is very powerful, and it's something that I love to just be around, whether I can actually be in the room for the whole film or not. Just seeing the reactions during the festival, and as I said, when people come out of the theaters, there's just something very special about that. And I guess maybe it's not a great analogy, but it's like the Titans game when they win and people come out and everybody's best of friends. I mean, that's an extreme version of the same thing. It's just a little more subtle emotional aspects in films than the Titans game. But I think everyone can relate to that idea of being connected on a human level.
Absolutely. And, I like what you say about the filmmakers being able to hear, especially from real people. It's not just these professional reviewers. They're hearing from their own audience, who, in theory, they're making this film for.
Absolutely. And even, as I said, in most cases for in-person screenings, we have Q&As with those directors or filmmakers or talent. And so if you're just someone who's curious about how a film got made, that's the whole point of a Q&A. I mean, I've heard all kinds of questions. Now we have student filmmakers and others that ask very technical questions, but even the basic questions are always enlightening and they're interesting. And they're questions that are things that you wonder when you watch movies all the time, but you never have access to the director. So, and searching the internet for an answer is not always as reliable as just asking the guy or girl who made it.
Of course, of course. All right, we got to take one more break here. Stay with us. More after the break about the Nashville Film Festival. And again, you're invited to call in, ask your own questions, 615-737-PLUS.